You're listening to the LSG Sports Network, the authority on Texas high school football. Welcome to the Texas High School Football Coaches Show on Lone Star Gridiron. I'm Chris Daly, and it's my belief that the men that make up the fraternity of Texas high school football coaches are much more than a bunch of thick-necked guys with whistles. They do so much more than teach technique and the X's and O's of football. They take young boys and change them into young men of character. They get kids to believe in themselves, to trust others, and to put others ahead of themselves. Texas high school football coaches are unique in how they impact the lives of these athletes as well as the generations those kids touch. In this show, I sit down with a different Texas high school football coach each time and learn about them. Not their record, not their on-field accomplishments, but who they are and what they believe and what it means to be part of the greatest sport in the greatest state. This is Season 7, Episode 12. My guest today is somebody whose father was a linebacker for the Chicago Bears, playing alongside Sweetness Walter Payton. I will introduce you to Chad Rives right after these messages. Hey, coaches, I want to tell you about a product I discovered that is going to be a game changer. Yeah, the Exploder Bar. As coaches, you want to get your athletes as strong as possible without jeopardizing their speed and quickness. The Exploder does just that. I know it sounds like marketing hype, but if you're like me, the second you see this lifting tool in action, you will recognize just how brilliant it is. Triple extension lifts are the key to more powerful movements, and the Exploder Bar was designed to allow these exercises to be performed in a safe and effective manner. And it's a great way to condition core muscle groups and ligaments. Check it out at PremierAthleticSolutions.com. The Exploder Bar is built for athletes who are looking for speed, strength, and explosion. Again, that's PremierAthleticSolutions.com. All right, everybody, join me in welcoming Coach Chad Rives to the show. Coach, how are things today?
Hot. They're extremely hot, but it's hot everywhere. So, no, everything's great, buddy. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. I like to start by going back in time. Tell me where you grew up and how you got into football.
I was born in Chicago. My dad used to play for the Chicago Bears, and but we lived in Wheeler, Texas. I grew up in Wheeler, Texas. I'm a Wheeler Mustang, a little bitty town, population 1,087. And so about halfway through I was probably 8th grade. My dad started coaching, and ever since, I've always known I wanted to be a coach. Once my dad started coaching, then it was a foregone conclusion that was going to be the path that I decided to take.
Nice. So when he played there, did he play with Payton?
So he did play with Payton. So he was a middle linebacker. He's a guy that was in between Butkus and Singletary.
Oh, wow, that's a tough place to be.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I just finished listening to the audiobook about him, Sweetness, so that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, he actually came down to Wheeler to visit one time.
Nice.
Interesting enough.
So you played there in Wheeler?
I played in Wheeler. Obviously, him being a coach, we moved to Borger, Texas for my last 3 years of high school. And then and that was it. That was it for my high school career.
And what positions did you play?
Well, I tried to play quarterback. Yeah, I was quarterbacking. And then funny story, I actually broke my back in high school, and wasn't supposed to. Yeah, I wasn't supposed to ever play again. ended up making it back for my senior year, and I played on defense. So
okay,
yeah,
nice. So you got a feel for small town football, though.
I do. I have a real good feel for it.
Yeah.
And that's where I started my career, was in small towns.
Cool. So tell me, where'd you go off to college?
Yeah, so at first, after my injury, actually I went and played in Kansas at a junior college, and then I finished up at East Texas State.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you immediately start coaching? Yeah,
and it's so funny. This is a cool story. My roommate in college, the center on our football team, played for Coach Wager when he had come down from New York and was coaching at Arlington Sam Houston. And he actually called my roommate to offer him a job, and he wasn't graduated yet. I was. My dad didn't have an opening. And so, lo and behold, I started my career with Bob Wager in Toller, Texas.
Very cool. And what positions, Coach, what did you coach?
Oh, at Toller, I was head junior high football. I coached boys and girls JV basketball. I was the head girls track coach. In the small towns, you do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was fun. It was a great experience and start to my career.
Nice. And if you could take me stop by stop every position you had up until now.
Yep. So after 8 months, in January, February, we left Toller and actually went to Groveton, Texas for a year. And then my dad got the head coach athletic director's job out in Morton, Texas, out by Levelland. And so I left and went and coached with him for 4 years from 2002 to 2006. And then Bob called and said he was going to Arlington Martin, and I've been here ever since.
Okay. And then when did you, I guess, which positions did you have there?
So I've been the offensive coordinator for the last 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then obviously, Tate took over this role.
Yeah. Excellent. And, you've had some influential coaches that you've worked for. Wager's certainly a big one. I assume your father was an influence. Talk about what you learned from each of those.
Well, from my dad, I learned that, he said this in his, you can bleep it out. He said this when he got inducted into the Texas Tech Hall of Fame. He said, you got to be a mean ass to play this game. And I think that, I don't know if there's any truer words spoken. I mean, that's the only way you can survive and be successful. With Bob, obviously, being passionate and being the same guy every day and having great energy, regardless of how you feel. Had a coach in high school as well named David Lanelmy, who is he coaches in Stratford, Texas now. And just his, just the fire that he coached with every day and the way he cared about kids. I always knew I wanted to coach, and playing for him only solidified that even more.
Nice. And what was the appeal of coaching? When you're young and you didn't even really understand what it was, what was it that drew you to it? Was it, hey, I want to go and do the chess game against another coach and win the game, or what motivated you?
I think this is a pretty simple one for me, buddy, and that's winning. So in Wheeler, if you were to go back and look, Wheeler's one of the winningest towns in football in the state, in the history of Texas football. And back when I was growing up in Wheeler, we always won, and I couldn't wait for Fridays to go eat Mexican pylon, to play tackle football under the bleachers and watch the Mustangs play. And I think, and then as I got older, I mean, that was why younger. I like to win. and everything and all the good stuff that comes along with it, right? And then as I got older, obviously I was always hurt. I was one of those guys that could never stay healthy. But once I was done, I didn't want to be done with the game.
Yeah. Because
I did like the different ways you had to use your brain and think, and what you're doing, planning a practice and scripting, getting the game script ready, and then the total opposite of that, and getting to know kids and work with kids. It's different every single day. That's my favorite thing about it. Is it's the same job, but it's different every day.
Nice. And when was it that the importance of leading young men and dealing with the kids that kind of took over?
Man, I tell you what, I grew up in a really, really strong Christian household. I had great leaders that were great male influences from both of my grandfathers to obviously my father and my uncles. And I don't know, that was kind of a life lesson that was always ingrained and taught to us is how to be a good person, and how to be a good how to be a good father, how to be a good husband, and that just carried through into the coaching, into the coaching world.
Nice. And talk about some of your relationships with other coaches and how this brotherhood works together instead of against each other.
Well, the first thing is everybody thinks they can do our job, right? And it doesn't matter if it's at Martin, if it's at Wheeler, if it's at South Lake, if it's at Mahia. It doesn't matter. And when you know what other guys, that the time. This isn't an easy job if you do it the right way, right? There's a full investment that every one of the coaches do, and that's the path that they head down, and to know, what coaches that do it the right way, what every day of their life is like, and what they go through. I think that forms a really strong bond. It's a different, it's a profession everybody thinks they can do and everybody wants to do, but there's not just a whole lot that can do it and do it the right way.
Right, I got you. And definitely Texas coaches do it a lot better than coaches around the country.
Well, I don't know that I need to. Yes, of course they do. No, yeah, and I've got some good coaching buddies in a lot of other places, but I'll tell you what, the number of great coaches is unbelievable. Yeah,
definitely. If you're talking to, actually, and now you probably do talk to new young coaches that are coming in, what do you see that's different about the new younger coaches versus, I guess, what do they need to know early on?
Well, I think our job is, as older coaches, is, obviously we're coaching kids, but we're also coaching the next generation of coaches. And so when we get those young guys in, just the simple things, and I think the most important one is time management. Mm-hmm. I know that was the biggest thing for me, and that was even before marriage and kids, right? And I think just talking to them about time management and how it's going to be right now, and it's going to be ever evolving with the more roles you take on, with how your life changes at home. I think that's as important as any. And then being just being prepared every single day. Kids can and being real. Kids can see through some 17-year-old kid. They're not stupid. They can see somebody that's fake, and they know when you're not prepared, and they can see right through it. So
right. Now you've been involved in programs, small schools. Actually, obviously Arlington's a much bigger school area. What do you see as the pros and cons of the small school experience versus the big city experience?
Shoot, I love both of them. What I'm trying to do,
Sure.
What I would like to do, and I say what we as a coaching staff, and not just football, but our whole Martin staff,
Yeah.
is we want to create a small town culture and atmosphere in one of the biggest programs in the state, if not the country, if that makes sense. Where everybody knows everybody, and that comes from one of the best things I think we do is the summer strength and conditioning program. We do it for every single sport, boys and girls, from grades 7 through 12, and we intentionally mix and match and let our athletes meet new people and know new people, and they have to get out of their comfort zone a little bit. But by doing that, that's the one thing that was cool about the small schools is everybody knew everybody and everybody played every single sport. And that's what we want to try to create here.
Excellent. And how do you get the buy-in from the community and the parents? Because there's so much going on in their lives. You know, they live in the big city, they work in the big city, but you want them to focus as if it's a closer knit environment. How do you get that buy-in?
Well, that is one of the biggest differences is there's so many opportunities and so many different things to do here than there was in some of the places where I started out. Now, obviously, technology and phones have changed some of that, but there is so many opportunities. What we try to do is we want to be on the same page with the parents, and I think communication is a lost art today with texting and social media and all that. People don't talk anymore, and I think up front and honest communication is key. And we try to do a great job of kind of like a while ago I talked about being prepared, but making sure that parents know what we're doing. We spend more time with their kids every day than they do, not even close. And to just keep them informed and in the loop of what's going on in their child's life while they're away from them. I think that's huge. As far as community buy-in, the southwest side of Arlington has always been extremely supportive of Martin Athletics and everything that we do. And winning helps, right? And we win in every single thing that we do. And I think that's key. Everybody wants to support a winner.
Hey, I want to talk about one of our sponsors, Ready Sports Drink. Football star Aaron Donald always brings something extra to his all-pro performances. Ready Sports Drink. It's science in a bottle. Ready Sports Drink features premium hydration with 3 dominant electrolytes, not just 1 or 2. Ready Sports Drink. Complete hydration with extra energy from super fruits and B vitamins. All this with 0 added sugar and great tasting flavors. Ready Sports Drink, the future of sports drinks. And Aaron Donald's hydration edge every time he sets foot on the field. Ready Sports Drink, now on sale at your local Dollar Tree.
You know, everybody wants to support a winner, and so that's been a big, a big push. They know we care about their kids. They can see it, and a lot of that is because we've built a rapport with them. Right.
And the school season starts basically with football. So talk about the importance of doing well there as far as how that rolls over into the other sports and other seasons.
We talked about it at camp today. Look, football and volleyball, you're about to start, and you are the kickstart for how the rest of the season going. You set the tone, you set the tempo. We talked about the importance of starting fast and doing a great job because those are the sports that create the momentum for the rest of the year. And the trickle down effect is it's contagious, right? And here it's kind of like a competition. You don't want to be the weak link in your program. So it's a healthy competition that that we have amongst our different programs, which at the end of the day impacts us as a whole Martin Warrior athletic program.
Right on, right on. And you've been coaching long enough that some of these kids are now adults and have kids of their own. They're married. Talk about some of those relationships that have developed outside of when they were actually one of your athletes.
So we actually have 6 coaches on staff that played at Martin and that we coached.
Nice.
For the couple of the older guys that are there. The impact that we have on kids is I'll use this one player, for example. Yes, we did a great job, took an interest in him, helped him along, and that was all good for him. But what it did in the long run, and I've seen, is it's gonna impact generations of his family. It's going to change the trajectory of, from where he was and where he came from, and the direction his life was headed. It's done a total 180, and there's a number of examples of that, and that's truthfully, right? I mean, that's really why you do it.
Right on.
To be able to see that.
I guess our game, you and I grew up with it. We love it. We love everything about it. But a lot of other people moving into the state or at various other states are really down on football. Talk about some of the threats that face Texas high school football.
Well, you know what? I just did a parent meeting in the spring, and I told you earlier when we were talking that I had 3 daughters, and I truly mean this. If they weren't girls, if they were sons, I would feel more comfortable with the direction that Texas high school football is going, and football in general, compared to what it used to be. I think it's safer now than it's ever been, from the equipment to the training, the tackling training that we all do to keep the head out, to the different rules changes that they're implementing. I would suffice to say that it's not even close to even back when you and I played in high school. You know what I mean? And I got 3 daughters. If they were built for it, I'd probably let them play. They're not, but I know people that's the knock on it. But when I do a presentation to the parents and show them all the equipment and all the different ways that their child is being protected now compared to in the past, we just didn't know what we didn't know, and now we do. And I think with PHSCA and the efforts that they put into making the game safer and keeping the game great is second to none.
Right on. Yeah, I remember in 2 days them telling us we can't drink water or we get waterlogged. And if you get a concussion, they literally do the smelling salts until you get back out there.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine that now? We can't even have real 2-a-days anymore, and we can't hit. There's time limits on full contact, and it just everything about it is safer. Yeah,
no doubt. What is left for you career-wise and goal-wise?
I'll tell you what, I wanted to be a head coach for a long time. I got here to Martin, and for the last, I don't know how long I've been here, 17 years. I've loved my job. I loved everything about it. I've got the girls. We moved around a lot when I was a kid. My dad moved around, my brother and sister, and I wanted to stay in one place, which is uncommon to be at a place as long as I've been here. Right. But I didn't want to move them, and so I was content doing what I was doing, and I was going to see that through. And then when the girls graduated, maybe go look and see if there was something out there. I've never cared about being a head coach just to say I'm the head coach. That's never interested me. I like to coach. Whether it's I love to coach football, but I just like to coach. It doesn't matter what sport it is. as far as my goal, I'm here. I'm happy doing this, and I'm going to ride this as long as it can. I've got a couple girls that are playing college athletics, and I sure don't want to miss out on that. So we'll see what happens.
Nice. And what about what you've noticed as the differences stepping into the big chair versus just being an OC?
Oh man, I have a whole lot of respect for everything that Bob did for us, so that we could coach. I have found that I don't get to coach as much. There's a lot more that goes into it. It's a different part of your brain, but that's good too, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times you get stagnant in what you're doing, and you get complacent. And this has definitely helped me not be complacent. So I'm extremely grateful for that.
Any big surprises that you're like, oh, I didn't think it would be this?
Oh man. I have, my dad was a head coach, and I think maybe just this sounds, just the number of questions that you get that you would think would be common sense, from people, with whether it be emails or texts or whatever. Like, goodness gracious, they just keep coming and coming, and that's part of it, And that goes back to what I was saying. It's all good. It's part of it, because the more we keep the parents and fans involved and in the loop, it's better for everyone involved.
Cool. Well, Coach Chad Rives, I want to thank you so much for sitting down and sharing some of your story.
I appreciate you having me, bud.
Did you play Texas high school football? If you did, you're part of an elite group, the Brotherhood of Texas High School Football. All football players, past and present, who have ever suited up in the Lone Star State are eligible. Go to LoneStarGridiron.com/brotherhood. And thank you for the part you played in the greatest sport in the greatest state.
Until next time, I'm Chris Daly, and we'll see you at the game. Hey, if you're involved in your team's fundraising, get this. I was recently introduced to Success Fund, and I was blown away by what it can do. If you're not already using Success Fund to manage your fundraising, you'll really want to check this out. SuccessFund.com. That's Success, FUND.com. It's not a specific fundraiser, no. Now, Success Fund is a platform with free tools that makes it easy to run whatever fundraiser you're already planning. Sponsorships, donations, camps, clinics, whatever it is, Success Fund makes it 10 times easier. Plus, schools use it to accept Venmo, which is otherwise not an option. Because so many thousands of fundraisers have been through their system, these guys know what works and what doesn't. And they just put out a free high school football fundraising guide. Yeah, you can go and download the guide for free at successfund.com/football. It takes 2 seconds to grab it. Again, you want to be sure to check these guys out. But at the very least, go grab this free football fundraising guide at successfund.com/football.